The night it began, the rain was falling in heavy sheets, pounding against the roof of Emily Carter's small house on the outskirts of town. She had always loved storms. As a child, she would curl up by her bedroom window, counting the seconds between lightning and thunder, pretending the sky was speaking to her. But that night, the storm wasn't comforting. It was loud, relentless, and seemed to press against the walls, trapping her inside. Emily was 34, a single mother raising her teenage son, Daniel. Her husband, Mark, had walked out on them 5 years earlier, leaving nothing but debt and silence in his wake. Emily had done everything she could to build a normal life for Daniel, working double shifts at the diner, patching up the house piece by piece, pretending she wasn't exhausted every single day. Tonight, though, she wasn't thinking about work or money. Tonight, something felt different. It started with the headlights. She noticed them when she went to draw the living room curtains. A car sat idling at the edge of the long gravel driveway. The engine hummed beneath the storm, but the car didn't move. Emily frowned, her fingers tightening around the curtain fabric. Nobody ever came out here without calling first. The neighbors were half a mile away, and she had no close friends in town. "Mom," Daniel's voice floated down the hallway. He was 16, tall for his age, his voice still caught in that uneven stage between boyhood and manhood. "Who's that?" Emily forced her voice to stay calm. "I don't know, honey. Stay in your room." She didn't want him to see her nervous, but her heart was pounding harder with every second the car stayed there. Finally, the engine cut off. The headlights dimmed. Emily's stomach sank. A door opened. She could barely make out the figure through the rain, but she saw him, tall, broad-shouldered, walking slowly up the driveway as though he had all the time in the world. No umbrella. No hesitation. Emily locked the front door. Her fingers fumbled at the chain, the deadbolt. Every instinct screamed at her to call the police, but her phone was charging in the kitchen. By the time she turned, a sharp knock rattled the door. "Emily Carter." A man's voice called, low but clear over the storm. Her breath caught. He knew her name. She didn't answer. The knock came again, louder this time. "I know you're in there." Emily backed away, her mind racing. Should she grab her phone, wake Daniel, and sneak out the back? The man's voice carried an authority that made her skin crawl, like he wasn't asking permission to be there, only announcing himself. Then came the words that froze her where she stood. "You think you can hide forever?" Emily's blood ran cold. The next knock wasn't a knock at all, it was a slam. The door shuddered in its frame. Daniel came running down the hall, eyes wide. "Mom." She grabbed him by the shoulders. "Upstairs. Now. Don't argue." Another slam rattled the hinges. Emily pushed Daniel toward the stairs, trying to keep her voice steady. "Call 911 and stay in your room until I come get you." "Go." Reluctantly, he ran. Emily turned back just as the door burst inward. The man filled the doorway, rainwater streaming off his jacket. His face was shadowed, but his eyes, cold, calculating, locked onto hers. He stepped inside without hesitation, the storm howling behind him. "Who are you?" Emily demanded, her voice breaking despite her effort to sound strong. He smiled faintly, though it never reached his eyes. "You know who I am." Her chest tightened. She didn't. She had never seen him before, but something about him, his confidence, the way he moved, made her feel as though he had been watching her for a very long time. Emily grabbed the fireplace poker from beside the hearth, holding it with both hands. "Get out of my house." For a moment, the man simply studied her. Then he took one slow step forward. "He didn't stop, Emily. And neither will I." The words made no sense, yet they sent a jolt of terror through her. She swung the poker, forcing him back a step, but he didn't flinch. His smile widened. "You're stronger than I thought," he said softly. "Good." Somewhere upstairs, she heard Daniel's voice, frantic on the phone. That gave her courage. Emily swung again, harder this time, grazing his arm. He hissed in pain, but instead of retreating, he lunged. His hand clamped around the poker, wrenching it from her grip. Emily stumbled back, searching desperately for anything else to use as a weapon. "You can fight me," the man said, his voice eerily calm. "But it won't change what's coming." Before he could advance, the sound of sirens split the storm. The man froze, his expression flickering for the first time. He glanced toward the open door, then back at Emily. "This isn't over," he whispered. Then, as quickly as he'd come, he turned and vanished into the rain. Emily stood trembling, her chest heaving, until the red and blue lights washed across the walls. 2 officers rushed in, weapons drawn, but the intruder was already gone. She tried to explain, but the words tumbled out too fast, too broken. "A stranger." He knew her name. He forced his way inside. He said something she couldn't understand, something about not stopping. The officers exchanged uneasy looks but promised to patrol the area through the night. They secured the broken door as best they could and urged her to stay calm. When they left, the storm had quieted, but the silence inside the house was worse. Daniel refused to sleep in his own room, so Emily sat awake with him on the couch until dawn, every creak of the old house making her flinch. She wanted to believe it was over, that the man was gone for good. But deep down, Emily knew the truth. He didn't stop, and neither would she.